Who's this gentleman? Who's this gentleman?
Meets with Adam.
Are we gonna do him first? Let's get around soon.
Yeah.
Or something. Okay, I'd like to call to order the meeting, the February meeting of the Recreation and Parks Board, constituting a quorum. So I think this is everybody we're expecting. We may have one other person show up, but we're going to go through a couple of items and then we're going to skip ahead to a different one. First item on the agenda is general discussion and clear statements from citizens. Is there anything for general discussion? The only thing that I have is the normal thing. Well, we do have a meeting 4 weeks from today, I presume, on March the 26th here in council chamber noon. So put that on your calendars, please. Moving on to item 2 of the agenda, approved minutes from the regular meeting held January 22nd, 2025.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes as written.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All righty. At this point, we want to skip ahead to item 7 on the agenda. Is discuss the kickoff meeting with LIA or LJA, I guess that is, architects on the Parks Master Plan. So here we go. I'll turn it over to you, Jody, to introduce.
Okay, as you may be aware, recall, we did, contract with, LJA, architects to, conduct a master parks plan, for the city of Port Lavaca. That contract was, approved at the last council meeting. And so, what I asked, Ernesto to do today is just get a brief kickoff, because obviously the Parks Board will be involved in this process. They'll be the kind of the sounding board as we go through this. So I'm going to turn it over to Ernesto. Again, we're just do some introductions and kind of give a high level overview on what to expect over the next year or so as we. Ernesto?
That's right. Thank you, Jody. Yeah, that's exactly right. The point of this meeting today is to give you an introduction to who's going to be actually doing the work on our team, what that scope and what that process is going to look like, what the deliverables are going to be, and then what the timeline is that we think is this whole endeavor is going to take place. Jody, do you want me to just say next and you can go to the next one?
Yes.
Perfect.
Next.
Yes, please. So this is your team. I'm Ernesto, and I'm a principal at the firm. I'll be your lead design planner. Katie Harris is going to be the lead regulatory planner. With me today is Kayla Leal, who is going to be the associate project manager on the project. Those 3 are primarily the ones that if you have a question, if you can't get a hold of me, you can get a hold of Kayla, you can get a hold of Katie, and we'll be able to respond to you. In this second row, we have Laura Cuervo, who is our planner. She is split between design and regulatory, and I can explain a little bit about why we make that distinction. But she's going to be, she's had a lot of experience creating Parks Master Plans for us, for other projects, so it made all the sense in the world to have her on this team. And then we have our 2 landscape architects, Charlie Patut, who is a professional landscape architect. I've worked with Charlie a number of years. We both worked at similar firms, and then we both ended up at LJA together. So that's pretty. It's pretty great. He's from LSU. Chris Chomer is going to be his associate project manager. So Chris is going to be really doing the work, and Charlie's going to be overseeing and making sure that everything is right. But Chris is going to be the one, doing if there are very specific recommendations that we have to make, Charlie and Chris together will help us to come up with that. I've got a lot of experience in landscape design as well. I worked for many years in landscape architecture. I taught landscape architecture for many years as well. So we have a pretty well-rounded team in that regard. And then Katie and Kayla, of course, are very capable in terms of the kind of regulatory issues that we may face in terms of helping us to find funding alternatives and finding grants and things like that. That's who we're going to be relying on in addition to Laura. Any questions about us or about how this team is structured? Okay. Stop me at any point, please. Okay, so the first thing that we want to talk about is the scope of work and what does that mean and what are we going to get to, right? So physically, tangibly, the first thing that we're going to do is look at the complete inventory of parks in the city. We're going to evaluate their strengths, weaknesses, where we have opportunities for more. Jody and I already talked about one area that the city is in the process of acquiring that is going to become a park, right? So things like that we're gonna look at. We're also gonna, from that, we'll be able to help make look at the different land uses and say, well, we think that these other areas we recommend as a park for the city in the future. We won't know that until we look at the inventory. Sorry, go ahead.
Next.
No. Let me talk about.
No,
Yeah.
go ahead.
After, so we're looking at the inventory. We're going to be thinking about the recommendations that we're going to make. We're also going to think about what are the requirements, what are the things that we need to have in the city in terms of parks, facilities, services, accessibility, things like that. We're going to look at locations. We're going to look at standards that the city has right now for for parks, and determine, are those, do they need to be more robust? Can they be pared down? We're just going to try to be as efficient as we can with and as comprehensive as we can with the process. And then the last thing, of course, is going to be the needs assessment. What do we think that the stakeholders, that the community is going to need? And in order to do that, what's absolutely necessary is a as robust a community engagement as we can muster, given the current budget and constraints and things like that. So, okay, so go ahead, go to the next one. So there's going to be 3 major community engagement pieces. There's a public workshop, there's going to be the virtual meetings, and then the open house. The very first thing that we'll do, and this is going to be one of our first to-do items, is to set up a public workshop where we'll talk about with the public, with people like yourselves, the visioning committee, members of the public, what is it that we want to have? What is it going to look like for parks in the city of Port Lavaca in the future? Following from that, we'll participate in monthly meetings, making sure that everybody is kept abreast of the progress. So that could include the visioning committee, it could include yourselves, city staff. We have to work exactly out how that structure will be, but we're budgeting for at least a monthly basis for that. The last piece that we'll do, the last major community engagement piece, will be the open house, and that's going to bring together the findings from all the inventory that we've looked at, the recommendations that we think, the comments that we've heard at public workshop and in the course of the virtual meetings. Everything will coalesce into one package, into one presentation, right? And that'll be the last chance for us to really flesh out what we want the master plan report to be. It's a precursor to the master plan report. From that, we're going to take that information and we're going to turn it into the master plan report. So next slide. Just so to break it down for you guys very, very easily, the inventory analysis plus the community feedback is the basis for the Parks and Recreation master plan report. That's essentially what, those are the 2 main bits of information that we need in order to do that. Okay, next. So in terms of a timeline, what does this begin to look like, right? So we've for all intents and purposes, we've kicked off the project. Today we're talking with you. We're going to do some project setup things. Jody's going to send me some information. We're going to get started, okay? And our sense is that by April 2025, we'll have completed the inventory analysis. All of the information that we'll need to look at, we will have gathered. So my sense is I want to get the public workshop going sooner rather than later, but we need to take a look at the parks inventory first. So that's why I think May 2025 is really when we need to have that public workshop. It could be towards the latter half of May. It just depends. That's something that we've got to look at together. So do the public workshop and the community needs assessment. that'll give us, between May and September, it will give us the time that we need to bring together the inventory, to get all the public comments together, to synthesize it together into that open house event. Right, so with that open house, we'll have a much better sense of what it is that's going to happen. We'll have the final piece that's really, really public is the public hearing. We'll have that public hearing. We'll talk to the city, and then from November to March, and essentially because the end of November and December are just such a poor time for scheduling things and getting work done. There's just so many interruptions with the holidays. It'll give us really, some of November, some of December, and then January and February to be complete end of February, beginning of March, right? So that's what we think is the complete timeline for the project. Okay, Jody, you can go next. So what that means for us is we're going to begin that inventory analysis, we're going to schedule that community workshop, and we're going to refine the timeline even more so that we have a much better sense of when we're going to do what. This is going to help us to keep the project on track, to keep the project under budget, and we'll have a much better sense. But a month from now, we'll have a really good schedule that we can pick apart and push and pull and all that stuff. And that, in a nutshell, that's how we're going to do it.
Okay. You guys got any questions?
Thank you. No, I don't.
Does that sound good? Does that sound reasonable?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And
One
yeah,
question that Jody had for me very early on, and I think you're right to do it, Jody, is really questioning, does it take a year, right? Does it really going to take a year? And from the experience that we've had with recent parks projects or future land use projects, comprehensive master plan projects that we've done, it really seems like a year is what it's going to take. If we can do it faster, will we do it faster? Absolutely, right? If we find that we can speed up certain things, we will. But at the same time, we it's important to give ourselves the time to do it correctly and to make sure that we're taking everybody's comments into consideration, right? So that it truly becomes a parks and recreation plan for everyone.
and the stuff that you and I talked about yesterday, I will make sure, and I'm giving myself to the end of the week, I will get that to you. So, yeah.
Yes, that's good.
All right, anybody got any questions? I know I'm excited to get started on this. It's something we've been talking about and needing to do for quite some time. Like I said, the last formal parks plan, I don't think we've had one since the 90s. I mean, if there was one, it was a little one. And I think the last one we were able to officially find was like 95 or 96, but anyway,
And the important thing, just to add on to that, Jody, I think that what's critical for this master plan report is to have an implementation plan at the end. So, it's not just,
yes,
hey, it'd be really great to have all these parks, but rather to say, these are the parks that we definitely need. This is the schedule that we need to
Yeah.
have in order to complete.
that's a key component. And yes, and help us identify sources of funding as well. So,
That's
yeah.
correct. Yep.
Okay, well, thank you, guys. I'll let y'all get back to your day and we'll get on with our meeting and we'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Bye. Okay, guys. Thank you for moving that up.
Okay. We'll pick up the rest of the agenda back where we left off. Item 3 on the agenda is receive monthly inspection report from the Public Works Department. Didn't look, is that in our packet?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there anything significant to report out of that?
I will note on that, you'll notice that there's not as many failed check marks as there has been previously. Because as they find a problem, they fix it. They don't come back and say, hey, we have a problem, we need to fix it, they just fix it. The areas that they are marking fail is areas we gotta do rust removal, which I've got phosphoric acid so we can go neutralize the rust and paint it, but I have to train these guys how to use it so that we're not getting injury reports out of it, so I haven't turned them loose on that yet. And then butterfly,
With with Doge, huh?
Butterfly Park has,
Good boy.
we have a mole problem.
Mold?
Mole. Little creatures.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
So there's little holes popping up everywhere.
Wow. It's not common in our area.
No,
Oh, that's my backyard,
they're expanding.
but it's being addressed.
Good
And what
luck.
park was this at? I'm sorry,
Butterfly.
Butterfly? Really?
Yep.
your part.
Yeah, well, no, it's not my park, but it used to be mine. I think now it's Dina's, but they're all my parks. But I can't believe they're having that problem over there, so close to the water. Oh. I need that park back. When I had it, I didn't have a mole problem.
I have to admit, I saw some kind of a ground rodent in my pool about a year ago. And I wasn't able to actually identify it. And as best as I could figure out, it might have been a mole.
Yeah.
It looked a little bit like a rat, but it didn't have a long tail on it. It had just a little short tail.
Yeah, I'm good.
That's what it was.
I'll go out every morning and I'll have 10 different little mountains in my backyard.
Wow. Okay, that's news.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Thank you for those highlights there. Interesting. Anything else? Any questions? All right. Moving on to the next agenda item is receive update on park assignments from park board members. We'll start with you, Bill.
Sir, Wilson Park. Any update on that little leak still right there by the septic stand? I was gonna sore eye.
Is it leaking again?
No, I know it's covered and it's still barricaded. I didn't know if it was like finally complete or.
Oh, they're watching it because every time they backfill it, it starts leaking.
Okay, well, it was water on top. I mean, I looked at it, just making sure, I'll go check again. But it could be still settling, you know,
I'll get with Mario and find out what the
just
deal is.
that
with
and then update reports on the rest. Everybody always asks, but
as soon as they're done with the sidewalks, we will open it up to the public.
And that's basically it, just as,
I know, that they keep that.
You want to explain about the doors?
yeah, and I was wanting to know an update on it. So you said once the sidewalks are done, then it's gonna be open up to the public?
Yeah, we'll put a placard on the doors for the time being with the code to enter.
Oh, you're gonna have a code to enter
Yeah,
bathroom?
That's the way it came. And it's not, the locks are not programmable. So I have to either order the programmable locks for it, which are $2,000 a piece. And I don't have that in my budget this year.
Well, my question is, how's it gonna be open to the public then?
Because the code would be there. You just punch in the code and
So you're gonna have it listed?
yes.
Oh, okay. I'm following now.
I'm gonna try that. If that seems to work, then I'll actually build a plaque that can't be taken and mounted on the building and then budget so that we can put programmable locks on it in the future. If it doesn't work out, then I will see what I gotta do to just put regular door handles on it and we'll just go out and lock them up at 11 at night and unlock them 6 in the morning.
Is this something we're gonna be doing to all the bathrooms or what? I mean, it sounds like a good plan, but at the same time, it doesn't sound like a good plan.
Bathrooms that have doors on them get locked every night and unlocked every morning. The ones that are open to the public, the ones that I'm fighting right now with vandalism and graffiti and just overall damage that cost us money.
Well, that's kind of sort of our norm, is it not? Shouldn't be, but
That's sad commentary in and of itself if that's our norm.
yep.
However,
Since I've been here, we've been always having some kind of damage and vandalism and.
we're getting on the sidewalks to get completed and then I'll move forward with opening that one.
The original intent was to have those programmable locks on there, but there
Yes.
was a mix up in the order and what came in was push button kind. So
And what's with the sidewalks? We're waiting for the weather?
They just got the form, they should have the forms completed today. And they'll be pouring this week.
Okay. Cause we're fixing to get busy, are we not?
Yeah, soccer sturdy.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, but this is
and the code is what, 1, 2, 3, 4, what did you say?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
There.
easy ones, yeah.
I'm noting that one.
Well, not just that, but the little kids and sometimes I gotta go, and they take off before the parents and some of them read and some of them don't.
And we're still waiting on parts for the lights for the skate park.
Okay.
When the gentleman took out the power pole, he sent a power surge and burned up a bunch of equipment in the box. They got a lot of it replaced. All of the stuff that was under warranty, they replaced. The stuff that wasn't under warranty was existing equipment that was there for the soccer fields and just revamped for the skate park lights, and it's all obsolete, so we've had to find replacement parts. That should be coming around. I'm hoping to get a message anytime next week that that's been completed.
Okay, all right, thank you, Bill. I'll go next with Bayfront Peninsula Park. I took a drive through just a few minutes ago, and when I was coming down the hill, it was kind of interesting because we've gone from extreme cold for our area and brown grass and everything like that to everything's kind of greened up like almost overnight. And my first impression was, oh, this is going to be needing a mowing job here real soon. And I looked out and there was a couple of more mowers sitting on top of the drain. And I guess waiting to go to mow this afternoon, I'm assuming. So that's the only thing that I really saw. Otherwise, the park really looked good. So it's greening up. And I'm sure that part of that green is going to be that stupid clover with the grass burrs in it. So my suggestion is that cut it short while you can, and that kind of impedes that so it doesn't flower and make more burrs.
Yeah, they got
Choked out eventually, but you have to be vigilant, especially in the spring.
they got their hands full right now because every park's gonna explode.
Yeah.
We're shorthanded.
Surprise, surprise. Yes, I know.
There's only 3 of them now, so
What they do, retire? Go into better jobs. Okay, well,
it just didn't show up.
Anyway, in general, everything looks good, so I'll move on to Olga. How about City Park? City Park.
you almost said Tilly, didn't you?
No, I did not.
My park looks really good, except for I do have a couple of questions for Dwayne on my park there. What time do the guys go out there and pick up the trash and stuff and inspect the restrooms and wash them? I mean, I might be talking before they even get there.
There's not a set time.
Okay, so they don't have
They have a route they run through all the parks.
okay, because it is like a lot of wind-blown trash out there, and that's the reason I was gonna say, and I did look at the trash cans and they don't look like they were picked up, and I said, well, they just haven't got a chance to come out here yet.
Yeah,
But the mowing looked really good. Of course, there's ant piles out there. Now, the ant piles that I looked at, they didn't look like they were active. Looked like somebody might have put something in. But I do have a restroom that's overflowing in the girls' restroom on Half League side. That girls' restroom. And then we discussed earlier what, on the little children's, but other than that, my park looks good. They went out there and mowed it apparently. Because it looks mowed. That's the reason I asked what time do they go out there, but there's a lot of.
yeah.
It's not by contract.
Right, so whenever they did it, but there's a lot of wind-blown trash out
It
there.
depends on who's running the route during the week and which direction they go to what time they get to the parks.
Yeah.
But they try to have all of the park trash picked up by noon.
By noon? Okay, then this one wasn't picked up.
And they start from at 8 in the morning.
But then you're shorthanded, so, you know, today might be after lunch.
Yeah, depending on how much trash there is to pick up, depends on how long it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think I might have beaten them, but then if they're shorthanded,
Also got a lot of trash coming in from the trail.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's wind blown.
So
Yeah.
you can't blame him.
Oh, no, I'm not blaming the guys.
You know, I've seen them get out there at 6:30.
Oh, yeah, I've seen them out there picking up the trash. That's the reason I asked what
They're getting
time.
a lot of influx. That's what's going
And I think more and more children are walking too from school. I've seen them.
on. And the bathrooms.
Okay, we're blaming it on the bathroom. I mean, everything's coming. But it's, you know, I'm just saying that it didn't look like they had picked it up. I know they're busy. I said I might have beaten them. And that, it looks good.
Hey, thank you, Olga. Greg?
Any part that's good and clean. You, I just passed by.
Yes, it's.
Very early. Things good.
Okay. Anything else on anything like that of our part? Okay. All right, moving on again. Receive financial, item number 5, receive financial status report on the Parks Recreation Department. Anything to point out there?
No, and unfortunately, half of my budget list is cut off, so,
We're good though.
but we're good. I mean, I've got a tight parks budget this year, so we're managing it very, very closely.
All right. Next item on the agenda, item 6, discuss financial reports at Lighthouse Beach Campground.
If you recall, at the last meeting, the, Parks Board recommended to council to, revisit the length of stay. That would be, maximum length of stay allowed at the campground. We did take that to council for discussion, and they, were generally in agreement to, do that, to take it back to 6 months. But we've got to go through the, amendment process of the ordinance. So we had a first reading, to change the ordinance at the March meeting and the second reading in April. So it will not become effective until what, it's like April 12th or whatever that, right after the second Monday in April. So it'll become effective. We did get, some vocal pushback from, some of the local RV, camp spots, campgrounds, which we anticipated. You know, again, we figure we'll continue to have that pushback at the first and second readings of the ordinance. The discussion had been, you know, that we are moving forward with, the gate system so that we are again able to charge admission into the park. Once that gets up and going and running, and you can reevaluate and look, you know, see how that's helping with the revenue stream to where, you know, council can then, you know, Parks Board and council can reevaluate again whether they want to, you know, review it today. We'll just kind of see how it goes. At this point, it seemed like council was in favor of making it change. So we're gonna go through that process to do that. On the note with the gate, tomorrow is the due date for on that gate system. And so we should be hopefully awarding that at the March meeting. And so with any luck, we'll have those in by, I don't know, Wayne, you think July?
Probably August.
So get it in as quick as we can. Yeah, we had some delays in trying to identify, we're trying to find vendors to get bids from. We had one, and that was it. At that time, it was under $50,000. But anyway, we ended up having to put together a technical bid package and just get bids so that we can, we're, at this point, we anticipate only receiving the one bid. We're not aware of anybody else, but we'll go on through the legal procurement procedure so we can legally work.
So bottom line is we're
Yeah, and so, and I did update, where we're at.
revenues for January were less than $3,000.
I mean, it looks like we're on the slight upward swing again, but not much. I mean, in January, it was 27.95, and in February, for yesterday, we brought in 35.18. But then at that time last year, we $1. So, the difference between August and through January of 2024 and 2023 is $46,000. So, we went over that with council, and that is not sustainable. I mean, it's not, we have reserves available, but obviously we don't want to eat into that. We want to, be self-sufficient with our operations and expenses.
Does anybody know when that is it mobile that's going across the street from Point Comfort gonna start doing their construction? I know they're doing the landscaping right now and stuff, so I hear. Okay, so nobody knows when their construction's gonna start.
Started late May,
Late May, I had heard, but I wasn't sure.
late May, it's the summer. Supposed to be breaking ground.
Or is it Exxon?
Excellent.
Exxon?
I mean, there's no announcement.
Port Lavaca don't need an announcement.
But I mean, it's not.
Worthing County.
That soon. If something were to happen, it's gonna be a while.
I mean, that's what I heard anyway. So I figured by then maybe our income might be a little bit more there, maybe.
I mean, nothing happens that quickly.
Anything else?
Hmm.
All righty, we've already addressed item 7, so item 8 is discuss ideas for possible inclusion in the 2025-26 capital improvement plan.
Believe it or not, we'll be heading into budget season again here in short months. And last couple of years, we've kind of waited till the last minute to start thinking about the CIP with the Parks Board. So I wanted to kind of get an early start on this year. Start thinking about, projects that you might want to have considered at least for inclusion on our 5-year capital improvement plan. One thing we didn't mention otherwise is the status of one of the CIPs we've got for this year, which was that shade structure over the top playscape at Bayfront Park, which they have started. They've installed the footing and they're waiting for the fabric to come in before they come in and assemble the supports and put the fabric up. But that's one other thing, to think about. Are there other, other areas that would benefit from a shade structure? City, those are not cheap. One that comes to my mind is possibly, the playground system over there at Wilson Park. I know there's a lot of kids that use that during soccer time, and I know it's very hot. There's no shade out there whatsoever. So, I mean, that's something to consider. Anyway, I wanted, to bring this up so you guys can be thinking and discussing potential projects. Another one that we've talked about that is not currently on the plan, although I think this year we need to fit it in there somewhere, is the redoing the entrance to Bayfront Park. You know, I think we want to wait and actually do that after we've done the parking lot improvements. But that, you know, that should be done hopefully well underway by this time next year. That we're waiting on the Corps of Engineers for some permitting before we can go out for bids for that project. And then it'll take a while to do it, but with any luck, we'll be at least under construction by this time next year. And it shouldn't take all that long to do that. So bottom line, I mean, we'd be ready to do that entrance project within the next couple of years if we want to make sure we get it on that 5-year plan. But just, you know, I wanted to bring this up so we didn't wait till the last minute again and say, oh, by the way, you guys got ideas? Give you some time to think about it. Look at your parks. Look at all the parks and come back with ideas that we can discuss as far as trying to see if we can fit them in the 5-year plan. If you have an idea, you know, share with myself or Wayne, we can put some cost estimates to it. It's one thing to have an idea, but we really need to know, okay, how much is this a $25,000 project or is this a $300,000 project, so we can fit it into the plan.
And keep in mind, the CIP is new improvement projects, not ongoing maintenance issues.
Yeah, it's not maintenance, this would be new.
This would be something that we don't have that we'd like to see in place. And there are no ideas off the table, so the only thing holding us back is funding. You propose us the ideas and we'll do what we can to see if we can get funding for it or if it's even feasible, and then report back.
And obviously we'll have ideas that come forth as we do this master parks plan. But, you know, we still wanna, there may be things that we can think about and go ahead and put in our master CIP, even without the parks plan, which we'll have for another year, you know. So we should have this next fiscal year to come up with.
This is where you guys come in, because you can reach out to your constituents and get that information from them of what they would like, as opposed to what Jody and I think we need.
Yeah,
We want to hear from you guys what your constituents want, what their needs are, so we can develop a plan to improve the parks to benefit them, because that's what we're here for.
and you might, and that's a good point. I mean, as you're talking to people, keep in mind this public workshop that we're gonna have today. I'll try to come up with a date here soon, so we can start publicizing that and try to get a really good one. I think we'll probably wanna have it at the Bower, so I need to get with Canyon, you know, see, come up with a date that's gonna work for everybody, and then we can start publicizing that and, you know, cause I would really it'd be disheartening if we hold this and only 25 people show up. I mean, we really need a lot of the community to show up to really make this successful, make sure we're listening to the whole community as we develop this.
And you were,
I was gonna say Bayfront Park when we have events down there, the entrance to that gets pretty congested. At one time, Bayfront Park had 2 entrances, one by the Sparks Hotel. It used to be a down, we could go in that way and then go in. We would go down and then cover the hill and then go back the other way.
Yeah,
You might wanna consider having an entrance and an exit out of there.
well, the plan was that we were gonna have a 2 exits, basically. The entrance going into the park at Main Street, that it would be widened to where you would have a dedicated right turn and one straight. And that would alleviate, because most of the congestion is as you're leaving, you know. We've looked at the, you know, what you were talking about, and it's still a possibility. but it just,
It's not conducive to a good flow due to the plans that we have for the parking.
I think when we,
Want to build infrastructure that we're gonna have to tear out when we put the new.
conclusion was that we could accomplish what, solve the issue with the congestion, which is primarily when you're leaving, by adding a dedicated turn lane, right turn lane, and as you're leaving. So when you're leaving, you either go straight or left or turn right.
Yeah.
And so that would.
My only concern, Jody, is that we have too many people down there, and if we have an emergency event, there's no way to get them out of there fast enough to keep somebody from getting hurt.
I mean, the other.
We have two exits.
I mean, currently the other exit, then, I mean, technically you have an exit on, was it Live Oak, right? I mean, over by the Tickets Bean.
Yeah.
And you can go through the parking lot and exit that way is a possibility as well.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of
Yeah,
an
no.
emergency, and then we got all those boats in the harbor, so we don't know what's in those boats. And then we got tons of people, an emergency, an explosion of some sort. Now you gotta get emergency in and emergency out, and those people around there are stuck.
Yeah.
So, it's something to think about when we keep doing it.
I mean, there long range plans, there will be a 10-foot wide path. That of course, push come to shove, you can have. But it wasn't looked at as being a dedicated entrance and exit to the park. But yeah, but that'll be a discussion for sure that we can have.
Anything else? Well, that concludes the agenda. I would entertain a motion
Move to
to
adjourn.
adjourn. We have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second, all in favor? Did you folks have anything each week?
I'd like to just say something, it just happened. I want to let you know I'm a frequent goer at Lighthouse Beach, and I think that, I know that we're short staffed, but they do an amazing job out there. I've seen in bigger cities and travel a lot of places, and I am so impressed with the work that they do and in the manner that they do it. They're very proud of their work, they love our parks, and so I hope to give them credit. I don't know if Wayne gets credit, the guys definitely do. And I know that a lot of people don't come in and always tell you about the good thing. But it is remarkable with the traffic that goes out there during the day. I'm there when nobody's there, so you see everything. So those guys do a very, very good.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
It's,
All righty.
look at me, it's the guys. I just-
The motion carried, so.
Thank you. Take care of yourself always.